Trials to Triumph, where we embrace hope even in trials, changing lives one struggle at a time. Sometimes in life, things won't change. Sometimes in life, they can't change. And so we find ourselves in the midst of a situation that we have to learn to adapt in. Merriam-Webster defines adapting as to change your behavior so that it's easier to live in a particular situation or place. Much of my personal story has to do with that I was born with multiple birth defects. What that means basically is there were many things in my body that weren't the way they were supposed to be, or they weren't where they were supposed to be. One of the things that was born very much out of whack, so to speak, was my hand and my fingers. When I was born, my right hand, this thumb pointed towards my elbow, and these fingers were extremely close together. It made it very difficult in those early years of my life to pick things up, to learn to write, and to do things that any child would learn to do with their hands, especially at a toddler level. And so I believe that because that hand was not only defected, it also found its place in braces and casts over time, that I became left-handed. Not only was that hand normal, so to speak, but it was able to do the things that it needed to do on a daily basis. When I was a toddler, it was decided that it was the best time to have surgery on this hand to see if we could make any improvements. What took place was the doctors took tendons from my other fingers and wrapped them around my thumb, putting it in its position that it belonged in, and stretching out those other two fingers with their tendons so that they would work better as well. After surgery and having a cast for quite some time and then followed by a brace, my hand was taken out and it looked much more normal than it had before, but it wasn't perfect. And so we went on with life and adapted by doing things a little bit differently than everybody else. I still stayed left-handed, but I was able to adapt in doing other things with my right hand. As many left-handed people know, this world is not made for us, and so you have to do things right-handed, whether you want to or not. At the age of 7 years old, I began to take piano lessons, and I came quite easily to this and began to play in recitals and concerts and did competition with my piano. After years had gone by, when I was a teenager, we were heading back to the hospital to have one last visit with this doctor who had done my hand surgery almost a decade before. As the doctor came into the room, he joined us with 9 residents. 9 student doctors accompanied him to this appointment. And as my doctor looked at my hand, he examined it and said, "Well, it looks like it worked okay." And I was telling him the things that I was doing, how I would peel potatoes with my right hand and cutting my meat wasn't difficult and the different things that I did. And my mom said, "Chris, tell him what you did this weekend." I was puzzled because the piano recital I hadn't thought of. And so I told this doctor that I had just taken part in a concert piano recital, and he was dumbfounded. He took my hand yet again, examined it even closer, and gasped out loud saying, "I've never seen this surgery work before." We were astonished. We thought the surgery had gone exactly as planned. Here I had adapted all these years and didn't know that the surgery wasn't even supposed to work. I walked away that day amazed at what God had done, even without us knowing it. Certainly, it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't look normal, as one would say. But it's new to me. And it works. And it feels the way it's supposed to. My hand works side by side with my other hand. And so even though it might seem different to the rest of the world, God was able to do something that even this doctor never imagined. When you find yourself in the midst of a difficult situation, think for yourself how you might be able to adapt in that situation. Because remember, not everything can be changed, and not everyone will change. So if we're able to adapt how we approach to different things, we might be able to experience the most grand encounters and outcomes than we ever imagined. Thanks for joining me today. Be sure to leave comments below. And for more thoughts, stories, or words of encouragement, I invite you to go to my Facebook page, where we truly do embrace hope even in trials, where we're changing lives, one struggle at a time. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.